Live from Gahanna, WGLH-TV presents Lincoln Live with Brooke Thomas and William Wida.
Today, a special edition of Lincoln Live.
Multiple new laws in Ohio directly impact students and schools.
But one in particular just may save your life. The story, straight ahead.
Lincoln Live starts now.
Welcome back from break, Lincoln. I'm Brooke Thomas.
And I'm William Wida. While Brooke and I would love to sit up here and tell you all about our spring break adventures, we have something else to share with you today.
That's right. Today we're turning our attention to something that could mean the difference between life and death. Something that affects thousands of people every year. Sudden cardiac arrest.
It strikes without warning, and it's more common for teenagers than you think.
But there's one simple device that can drastically improve survival rates, as long as you know where it is and how to use it.
So, what you learn today could save a life tomorrow.
We got one.
Basketball referee Rick Roll is officiating a game at Columbus Academy High School. While this is a typical game, it's far from a typical story.
Travel!
Nearly 2 years ago to the day, Richard Roll collapsed while refereeing a 7th grade game on this very court. His heart stopped beating for 3 minutes. Across town in Worthington, 17-year-old Kanan Dickman steps onto the soccer field. Just 2 years ago, like Rick, Kanan suffered cardiac arrest, collapsed, and came within a few heartbeats of losing his life. Here they stand, active, breathing, alive. Thanks to a single life-saving device, something that most people never think twice about, or even know what it is, an automated external defibrillator, an AED.
If it wasn't for the quick actions of my coaches and their training with CPR and AEDs, that I would have died that day.
The AED saves lives. I am living proof.
Cardiac arrest happens when the heart's electrical system is disrupted, often by an arrhythmia like ventricular fibrillation. When the heart stops beating, it cuts off blood flow to the brain and the rest of the body, causing brain cells to die within 4 to 6 minutes.
The heart's just sitting there quivering. And so what the AED does is it supplies a very strong shock to the heart, which causes all of the muscles in the whole body, along with the heart, contracts and then lets up. And the hope is that then those natural pacemakers will kick back in.
And the AEDs have proven time and time again that they can save lives, including Rick Roll's on January 12th, 2023.
It was just a typical day. Threw up the ball and the game started. All during the game, I felt fine. And then it went overtime, and in the first minute overtime, I went down.
What Rick didn't know at the time is that he had 100% blockage in his heart, a condition known as a widowmaker heart attack, because it blocks a major artery that supplies 50% of the heart's blood flow.
I didn't know that I had angels saving my life. They said I was out and basically dead for 3 minutes. It was very fortunate because here I'm at Academy. They were being trained because 2 weeks before that, Damar Hamlin had gone down in Cincinnati.
That's Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin, who went into cardiac arrest during a game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Hamlin collapsed, and medical staff rushed to perform CPR and use an AED, fighting against the clock to restore blood flow to his brain. Hamlin's collapse, watched by millions on national television, sparked a surge in awareness about AEDs and CPR. The American Heart Association reported a 600% increase in page views following the incident. It was a wake-up call for the importance of immediate action in these critical situations.
Luckily, the AED that was placed in that athletics complex was literally just outside the door to the right.
I helped get the AED, and then we got all the pads attached.
It took 22 seconds from the time that I got to him to call for the AED. Between that, we'd already had one round of compressions done before the AED was already on him.
We let the AED kind of do its thing.
When I woke up, I thought I just fainted.
You know, he was making jokes, and that was one of the biggest reliefs of my life. It is my belief if there was not a working AED and trained staff, Richard Roll would not be sitting in this room today.
For those without knowledge or access to an AED, that 22 seconds turns into minutes. Though in Gahanna we are fortunate to have close access to EMTs, the time spent waiting for the paramedics to arrive adds up quickly and can be life-threatening.
For every minute that a patient is in cardiac arrest and they go without CPR, their chances of survival drop 10%. We have to get our gear on, get in our vehicle, then we have to navigate traffic. And so if you imagine all of that time, no one's performing CPR, by the time we arrive on the scene, the patient is at extreme risk of not surviving just because so much time has elapsed.
That's why urgency in securing AEDs and the help of trained bystanders can save lives. Lives like soccer player Kanan Dickman.
In the summer of 2023, I was at a soccer practice and we were running miles for conditioning, and I was about halfway through the second mile when I pulled off to the side and basically just collapsed.
I administered 4 rounds of CPR and rescue breathing until Coach Fagan returned with the AED. We unpacked it, prepared it. As I continued CPR, the AED measured Kanan's vitals and advised a shock to be administered. The shock from the AED restored Caden's heartbeat, was used again on Kanan in the ambulance before they left to take him to the hospital.
And it all kind of came together to keep me here today.
Neither Kanan nor Rick would be alive today had they been alone when they collapsed, or if an AED hadn't been readily available.
We were actually supposed to be on the backfields that day, which didn't have an AED.
I was actually golfing a couple days before that by myself in the middle of a golf course, and there wasn't anybody really else around.
So we were super lucky to be on the main field.
So if it happened that day, I wouldn't be here.
Kanan and Rick's stories, along with millions of others, are clear reminders that AEDs need to be both available and accessible, and that proper training is needed. So in Ohio, Governor DeWine signed House Bill 47 into law.
This bill requires every school to have the AED in the school. Also requires the schools to make people familiar with it. It's very important, obviously, to know where it's located. It can be utilized certainly within that first minute. It dramatically changes and improves your odds.
This bill hits close to home for victims of cardiac arrest and for advocates pushing for change. Their voices were heard.
I was down in the State House when they were debating the bill, and there were so many heartwarming stories of parents whose children have been on sports fields and had heart attacks.
I advocated at the State House alongside people from the American Heart Association and people with stories of their own.
Kanan's story touched Governor DeWine so much that he traveled to Worthington to sign the bill.
I usually sign bills in my office. I signed this bill right in Kilburn.
It was an honor for him to pick me specifically to come sign the bill at Kilburn.
Fortunately, they were able to use this device to bring him back. Sadly, we know that the outcome many times does not turn out that way.
Kanan's story helped shatter a dangerous stereotype that only older people are at risk of cardiac arrest, and that it doesn't affect the youth. That belief is dangerously false.
The young people, that's what's important, because I never thought, even as a referee, that this could happen to young people. I just thought it happened to old people.
Anybody can be at risk. We have had those instances in our area where young, healthy athletes go into cardiac arrest.
As someone who has appeared to be, extremely healthy, 1 minute, and then boom, this happens.
There are 2 AEDs at Gahanna-Lincoln High School's main campus, one in the lobby and one near the weight room. We surveyed 110 staff members about their knowledge of AEDs. While 99% knew what an AED was, 53% didn't know where they were located. As for students, out of 244 surveyed, 81% had no ideas where the AEDs were at school and if we even had any in the first place. So, our administrators are taking action to improve AED education here at Gahanna-Lincoln High School.
We're definitely focused on making sure that our staff is trained with having the appropriate AED training and making sure that we have the AEDs in our building and that everyone knows where they are located.
Luckily, the AEDs are simple and user-friendly, making them easy to use once accessible. First, remove the patient's chest clothing or any metal items. Then, follow the instructions that the AED gives you.
Apply pads to patient's bare chest as shown. Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient. Shock advised. Charging. Stand clear. Press flashing shock button. Shock 1 delivered. It is safe to touch the patient. Begin CPR now. Continue for 1 minute 15 seconds.
It's that simple. Your quick, decisive actions could save a life.
Consider the alternative. These people, unfortunately, their heart is not just going to start beating on its own. They do need treatment. And if somebody does not do something, the patient is going to die.
AEDs are just a decoration on the wall unless you have an action plan prepared to use them.
Now, every time I walk into a gym, if I don't see it, I ask the athletic staff where it's at and when was the last time I used it.
It's so important for all of us to have some sense of what we do in case there is an emergency.
The difference between life and death often comes down to one decision: to act. In those critical moments, hesitation isn't an option. The power to save a life is in your hands.
Press flashing button. Shock delivered.